Well, yes, it's Friday Night Line. I should have named the video Friday Night Line because that's what you're accustomed to on a Friday night. But tonight, I actually wanted to talk about stuff that's a little more important than just liming. And I guess it will depend on how many people come out, who gets the message. Although people share the video and watch it. The day after, it is Friday the 12th of January. It is actually 3 minutes to 8, so we are early. And that's good. That's really, really good that we are early tonight, so we can make the best of it, and we could have a time. So, what you can do, tell everybody that we're here. Spread the word, share it, let them know we started, and we inside. I will use the 3 minutes to share it to the groups too. So let's do that. Yeah? For a lack of knowledge, the people perish. Let's see if we can fix that. The song could stop right there, and I still ain't share it yet. But you see that part of the song? That's where I wanted to start. I wanted to get to right there. And I'm sorry that they have it so early in the song, because we will lose out on such a lovely song. Tricanal, big group. We're trying to get in touch with Tricanal to invite them to join us on the 20th of January. So anybody who have a link up with Wendell Manwaring, tell Wendell Philip Alexander trying to get in touch with him. We would like the band to perform at the PEP rally, first anniversary rally, on January 20th. That is not this Saturday, next week Saturday. So if you have a link with him, or any of the members, or whoever is there, agent or whatever, yeah? But we start it over now, because I love that song. I really do. Keep sharing it, keep sharing it live, keep sharing it live. Share it to everybody. Point in the throat. You can't turn away from this. I have a partner named Ricardo Bailey. When we was growing up, his nickname was Dumpling, because he was chubby then, but I interrupt him, run him tonight in Woodbrook. When I went by Cooking Vibes to get my Friday night meal, you all know Friday night, usually, I buy Cooking Vibes. That's where tonight they had scotch, so I had one drink. You know your boy, I take a one drink on the rocks, Glenfiddich, 15-year-old. That becoming my drink of choice. I can't wait to try the 25-year-old. Now, Philip's birthday is on the 17th of January. That is 5 days away. So anybody who feeling motivated and would like to get me a single malt, a Glenfiddich 25-year-old, we in that. Anyway, so I bounce up Ricardo Bailey and I'm talking to him while he running. He stopped, dripping with sweat, but he stopped. We see each other for a while. Ricardo tell me, boy, he say, Phil, boy, the lack of a moral compass is destroying this nation. And it hit me for 6 because he not lying. The average person in Trinidad and Tobago don't have a plan, you know. Or we all have the same plan. Get money and stunt. That's it. We get money and stunt until we get sick or too old to stunt. And then put ourselves out of pasture. That's who we are. 50 and 60 years old, we jamming with the children, Peter Pan syndrome eating up this country. But that's not the issue. The lack of a moral compass, the lack of an understanding of what is basically right and wrong has ruined Trinidad and Tobago. So we coming inside there. Share up the video now, man. Evangelize tonight. He promised the fire next time. And who ain't dead, badly wounded. Talk your talk. Fill in the head with brainwash education. I want to jump in right there. This is a country where the business community, the Chamber of Commerce, the Trinidad and Tobago Manufacturer Association, and everything that works with them, every accounting firm, every finance house, the central bank, every one of them know one thing that I'm about to tell you. It's Trinidad's worst secret. What I'm about to to tell you here is the underpinning of the 1%. What I'm about to tell you, besides the drug trade and all those who are involved in that, and besides the corruption and all who are involved in that, I see my partner Rohan Sinanan buy himself a car that you're supposed to have a chauffeur drive you in. But there's only these small Banana Republic, just get money monkeys will drive his own ass around in traffic, sitting down in the chauffeur seat like an ass, like the next clown with the Rolls Royce. Them is not car you drive yourself in, but stick a pin now. Rowan, round of applause. May back for yourself, but drive it. Get a little hat and some gloves. Let people feel you're driving, Miss Daisy. Let me come back to this. The underpinning of Trinidad and Tobago's economy is slavery. Yep, slavery. So for all the people who want to tell me about, they have certain words you can't say because it harkens back to a time of slavery. Early in the show, miss me with your bullshit. Because slavery happening now. Our entire economy, slavery. All them little girls and boys in Subway assembling them sandwich, slaves. All. The mop man, slave. All. It's a different type of slavery now. It's an easier slavery. You allow them to enslave themselves. You enslave them with bills and you enslave them with debt. So you have children to mind and rent to pay and food to buy. Hustle your ass down to a security firm, get a baton to twirl. Because poverty, you see, I have some frenemies. There's friends, but there's enemies. Because they wouldn't talk this for you, you know. They would pretend that they have a different reason Trinidad is how it is. They will watch the hustlers and the sufferers, the 750,000 people in this country that are gainfully employed living below the poverty line. How is that possible? How is that possible? A lack of knowledge. You see, when the education system was made to fail, it was made to fail deliberately. It was made to fail deliberately. 1% children can't go Tranquil and Mokorapo because you can't succeed there. No matter what going on in that school, you can't succeed. You can't. There's no education to be had there. Or the education you're getting there is street education and it's a fork in the road. Crime or slavery. And that's it. Our education system in Trinidad and Tobago is bullshit. And we will stick a pin there because we'll come back at it. And we'll show you why it is bullshit and how easy it is to fix. But what is important to understand for a lack, and the Bible quote, the actual Bible quote, Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. My people are destroyed from lack of knowledge. And that is the whole and sole purpose of Philip Edward Alexander in politics and for a large part the Progressive Empowerment Party. For a lack of knowledge. For a lack of knowledge, Trinidad is a gangster's paradise. You see, you can't get somebody who has education, hope and opportunity to climb down into the pirogue and lift the cocaine out. You can't get somebody with education to put the cocaine in the back of the van and jump in. Or drive the 8 little boys from John Street with no education in jail for the rest of their lives. They were teenagers on bonus. When they hold the $600 million worth of cocaine, they jail these little 8 fools for the rest of their lives. The importer, the exporter, the stunters, none of them name call. But these 8 little fools who have no education inside the jail for the rest of their life. And we in Trinidad and Tobago just dress up nice in suit and tie, fancy robes, and walk around town pretending we not on bullshit. That this is not a criminal enterprise. That this whole country is not one big failed gangster state. We pretend that bullshit. So when Grace Walker and the rest of the people want to hold their testicles tight, when Philip Edward Alexander call out Max Richards for his piece of bullshit. I see my friend, the gym owner daughter, click like when a man tell me a song like the rest of them when I talk. Brother, miss me with your bullshit. My job is not a song like nobody. My job is to tell you, if you had a public office Do the friggin' job. Have some integrity and some character. Do not use it to abuse the people of the country. That's not what it's for. Max Richards, kiss my ass. Not rest in peace. Kiss my red ass. You're a stunter and a joker. Everybody in the country, all they remember of you is Max Lighter Party. So we spend hundreds of millions of dollars to mine you and your family because Max liked to drink and party. No problem. It's a stunters, gangsters paradise. Cool. But why did you have to get involved in Section 34? A big educated man, they pluck from the University of the West Indies. So it's either you were masquerading as an educator or you were intelligent enough to know when the UNC government pull you aside on the 50th anniversary of independence and tell you in the dead of night, we pluck in one section of the Indictable Offences Act and we just wanted to pass that into law when nobody watched it, late in the night in the dark. And you didn't know you were committing a crime, joining a conspiracy. You thought that this was normal or natural. Miss me with that bullshit. And I do not care to have the stunters and the frenemies coming around telling me how to call shit sugar. Grace Walker, that is shit, not sugar. Colin Hamilton, that is shit, not sugar. And if you think it is sugar, put it in your tea tomorrow. Take a spoonful, put it in your coffee in the morning and go, But don't bullshit me. Because I'm not on that at all. And next thing, the people who want to come on my wall and say when they get repealed, because every now and then, has let all the block trolls free again. Let's get blocked for a while, but don't block you forever. Every now and then, let's go through the whole block list and release all. Don't come on the wall and tell people you were blocked before. Listen, if you disagree with me, I love that. I love a debate. When I tell you, I love a disagreement. Give me a reason to show you my length, time, and inclination. But don't come and disrespect me and bad talk me on my wall. Hold your mother ass, you're bound to get blocked. If it was real life, I would turn my back and walk away. You think you come in on my Facebook to cuss me and bad talk me? Of course you're getting blocked. So if your mother and your father didn't raise you with decency when you're in other people's house, behave yourself, I will show you. I will show you. And go and tell other people, Philip blocked me. I just tell them, if you disrespect me on my wall, you'll get your throat cut. Bust it. Because there are 10,000 people waiting to come on this wall. So don't abuse the privilege. But come right back to this. The people in this country know. No. They know now. They know. Slavery runs this country. Educated people not going to work behind KFC cash register. Educated people not working in McDonald's. Sufferers, hustlers, barely getting by people taking those jobs. But you have a government that understands that once you distract them with bullshit, you could get them out of school. Take a CPEP 10 days and hustle. Buy yourself a half pack of Du Maurier and a Guinness. And there's somebody, look at somebody, girl child, to pull at. This is what we've done to black people in this country. Prior to Eric Williams, the African community in Trinidad and Tobago, the grandchildren of Africa, were fantastic on the education. Listen now, we produced world scholars. Somewhere between Eric Williams and today, black people can't find their way. When the Queen was here, black people could get an education. Somewhere between Eric Williams and today, black people have been reduced to hustlers and sufferers. Somebody say, the carnival that the grandchildren of Africa created, they've been reduced to hosing down the piss truck and holding the security rope. How? The fire truck. Did that come about when you have a black party in power for 3/5 of our independence? And they care about you. If the grandchildren of Africa, and for a lot of ways the grandchildren of India as well, but thankfully on their part they have a Satmaraj, because asshole that he is, he have a vision for his people. And if the grandchildren of Africa had a Satmaraj who understood that his job is to talk shit and defend foolishness like child marriage and all kind of nonsense, but he understands the power of education. And it is people like Satmaraj that moved the East Indian community from rum drinking coolie to doctor, lawyer, engineer, architect, civil leader. Where they gone? Where they gone? Check it out. And this is true talk. Where is the African leader, the grandchildren of Africa could turn to for direction and guidance. Let me tell you a story. In the days of real slavery in America, it was illegal to teach slaves to read. And it was punishable by death for the slave. It was against the law to have an educated slave. And there's a reason, and that reason continues today. Education frees your mind. Once your mind is free, the body will follow. There is a story about this slave who, the family that owned him, they got close to him, and he was close to Massa. He and Massa went everywhere together. He was Massa. You know, people say, Diamond nigga. That was Massa nigga. And anywhere they had to go, they would go together. Apparently, one of Massa's children taught this slave the rudimentaries of reading. Basic reading. 4, 5, maybe even 6 letter words. He could have understood. Long story short, he and Massa driving to town. Massa fall asleep, he holding the reins. He is coming to the busy intersection. His horse is running, and he coming to the busy intersection, and he's seeing the stop sign. Now, he in a quandary. Because if he run through the stop sign, he risks an accident. It is a busy intersection, and people could die. If he stops the carriage, anybody looking on that asks, how did you know to stop here? Could hang him right there. So he didn't know what to do. And the horse is running, and he come into the intersection, and he's seeing carriages zooming through. And the only thing left for him to do was hit Massa backhand slap. Whopper! Massa jump up. Look around to see what the hell you slapped me for. See the stop sign, grab the reins and stop the carriage. So the carriage stopped there and then. Massa, what the hell you hit me for? He said, if you see the size of the bee that land on your face, I think I'll kill it. This is where he was put. That for knowledge, he was to die. And there's a reason to this day, our education system undereducates the vast majority of our people. A lot of our business community cannot survive if they paid our workers a living wage. All you need to do, simple arithmetic, Google any fast food restaurant worker in the States and a fast food restaurant worker in Trinidad. Both of them working for minimum wage. The fast food restaurant worker in the States getting $13 and could buy 13 items off the dollar menu with 1 hour's salary. 13 items. A Trinidadian working for $15 an hour could buy 1 item. I have asked economists who duck the question all the time. Because you see, I want to drill it down to here. And when you go on Alibaba and Amazon and you see the price of shit, you want to know, how is shit so cheap in America and so expensive here? Because you are brutalized and gouged by the business community here. But worse, in our country, our dollar sells for 1/7 of a US dollar. 1/7 is the value. But its purchasing power is between 1/13 and 1/15, and I never understood that. And I can't get anybody yet to explain to me how that might be so. Because this is a country that all we buy and all we sell is in US dollars. The only time we need a Trinidad and Tobago dollar, miss me with the sovereignty bullshit. Trinidad is spit in the ocean on the globe. We are dot, we are speck. We are here on a fly's ass. We don't need our own dollar. We have a dollar because it allows bankers to make 70 cents profit every transaction you make. It is an unofficial 13% tax being levied on the consumers by the banks because you only use Trinidad and Tobago dollars in Trinidad. You cannot use Trinidad and Tobago dollars outside of Trinidad. So it begs the question, if everything that we buy in Trinidad is imported from somewhere else in US, why have two currencies? Why change our currency to TT dollars if the TT dollar have no value? Why do that? Why put an extra 13% tax on every item bought and sold in Trinidad that is imported, and 99% of the things, even the things they stamp as Trinidad and Tobago Manufacturers Association made in Trinidad, miss me with that bullshit. Assembled in Trinidad. Assembled in Trinidad, because I see Mute and Vemco proud with the ketchup, but I look on the first item, high fructose corn syrup, where that growing in Trinidad? Where that processing in Trinidad? You mean assembled in Trinidad? You only that come here with the ketchup bottle, maybe. And I don't know what Sabga have to import to put in the glass, to make glass. I'm not in the glass business. And I'm just trying to explain to you that for lack of knowledge, our people perish and they're being taken advantage of. We'll come back to this. These businessmen in Trinidad and Tobago are very aware that they are making hundreds of millions and billions of dollars on slave wages. We need parity. The union leaders, Watson Duke, Ansel Roger, all the rest of them, are lying to the people who follow them by telling them that they are applying for a raise. We want a raise. We want 13%, 15%, 17%. Understand, every time the government times that salary increase, it is timed with inflation. So that you get it and the cost of living goes up and it negates it. So you're back to square one. All you did was marched around for foolishness. And they're fooling you. And they're fooling you. So your salary bigger, but it can't buy as much as it used to buy before. So they're making you an ass and laughing at you in the boardroom. And Roger and them taking the stunt money to drive around in Beamer and make you feel them leading you. I want to tell you this. Ask for parity. Trinidadians need a living wage to start. And you need a government that is willing to have that conversation. Trinidadians need a living wage to start. There are people who will tell you the economy will collapse. That is bullshit. The artificial slave economy will collapse. Quite possibly. But the real economy will find itself and it will grow. Because these same workers, follow this, I know they're going to come and give you big, highfalutin equations. Take my simple arithmetic. These same 700,000 workers that you just moved from $15 an hour to $30 an hour, you just double the spending power of the vast majority of Trinidadians who will spend that money in Trinidad. In Trinidad. You just bubbled the economy. But you can't just do it so because you'll cause inflation. So we need parity. And we need to discuss, do we cancel the Trinidad and Tobago dollar? Do we decide, as our biggest trading partner is the United States of America, they buy our oil, they buy our gas, we import all our shit from them, shouldn't we just all walk around with US dollars in our pocket and save the bullshit and save giving the bankers 70 cents on every dollar? We will lower the cost of living in Trinidad and Tobago just by cancelling the Trinidad and Tobago dollar. And now, it will be clear. Workers will be able to ask for 13 US an hour. And the sandwich have to sell at US price. Match it. Because you will want to know, if a box of KFC is 5 US, it had to be 5 US in Trinidad, or close. Or it's close approximation. You see, when you start to talk like this conversation, this is just one of it, it's just one part of it. But when people start to think and talk like this, you know what happens? Crime dies. You see, crime is a last resort. People tell you they're worthless. They wake up and they want to terrorize good people. Miss me with that bullshit. They're not worthless. You've enslaved them and they're trying to escape and they're trying to commit the same crime you committed. The same freaking crime that you committed, they're trying to commit. But you see, a man with a gun is an amateur. Don't rob a bank. Buy a bank and rob everybody. Next conversation. Education. Let's talk education. You see, the more politicians and lawyers get, is the worse the country gets. The people who are supposed to be making the most money in this country is the farmer and the teacher. Those two professions are the most noble professions in any nation. The farmer feeds the nation. The teacher raises everybody's standard of living. So what we need in this country is respect for the farmer and respect for the teacher and get them operational. No more jackass teachers, halfway pelt through teachers training college. We want professionally trained teachers with degrees, with a first world degree. And then you promote people based on meritocracy and further education. I want the principals of schools to have masters and doctorates in education. And if you did that and made sure that the teachers below them get bonuses on the performance of their classroom and they get promoted based on that and on the track record, all of a sudden, Mokorapo Junior Secondary will give you doctors and lawyers. Mokorapo will give you doctors and lawyers. Providence and St. Joseph and Holy Name and Presentation wouldn't be able to keep up. Tranquility will give you architects and engineers. Because all of a sudden, you are respecting the profession. You are motivating and incentivizing learning in this country. The Progressive Empowerment Party very, very serious about that, you know. You see, all of these governments that want to engage in lock-up and lockdown, this is why I tell you, Edmund Dillon is a jackass, a wet spot, a placeholder. And the only man worse than him is his boss, because his boss is a ratty jackass. Kid Rowley don't have two good thoughts to string together. And Kamala can't sit down there and clap, because she did shit all with her 5 years. Kamala did shit all but stunt and make a handful of contractors rich and build a bullshit hospital that collapsing. But I'm sticking up in, I ain't touching that, you know. I ain't touching that because she and she Chinese people that she cuss when Manning used them to build Napa, she come back and use them to build the hospital in Cuba. So you see me and them people bullshit, I ain't getting in that. Come back to this, the teacher and the farmer. You see the judge, the lawyer, the politician, you could do without them. If you give your people hope and opportunity, you don't need police. You don't need police. People will live well. People will be on a track of personal development, raising their family, they have hope, they have opportunity. You will all of a sudden have a society. We have a disconnect in our society. We have a badass rich class. 90% of them thief their way to there. We have lawyers who are being paid extra. I mean, it is ridiculous the kind of fees lawyers get in this country. To do the Off Commission of Inquiry and the CLICO Commission of Inquiry, lawyers were made millionaires off one matter in 2 years under Kamala. Millionaires. And they will tell you that was a balancing of accounts because PNM thief through Petrotren and all that other kind of bullshit, and UTT, and all that Malcolm Jones, Ken Julian, and all this shit that you and your children have to listen to while your country is collapsing. This lovely elderly Syrian lady in Hilo, Massey Westmall. I went in Massey Westmall because my mother was sick, and my father called me and told me my mother's sick, so the closest grocery on the way, I passed in Massey to get her some apple cider vinegar and some grape juice, some Portugal and apple and thing. I want to give her something to get better, right? So I'm in Massey. And this elderly Syrian lady, she walked past me, and I'm walking with my trolley, and I say a respectful hi, and she say a respectful hi, and I continue on. And then she came back, and she said to me, you know, I don't miss one of your shows, but I don't know why you cuss so much. And I tell her, I don't know either, you know. I don't start off the show hoping to cuss, you know. But when I get into the details of the issues and I reminisce on the madness that is Trinidad and Tobago, and how much lies are being told to the people of this country by highly educated, well-positioned people in society, I have no choice but to curse. I am so fed up of what passes for professional organizations and chambers of commerce in this country. I detest and despise the lot of them. I know that there are a handful of good lawyers and good accountants, but the rest of them is a bunch of charlatans and crooks. And their whole code of ethics and all that bullshit. Do you know that the media in Trinidad and Tobago have a code of ethics? Asha Javid ever read it? Asha Javid ever read it? How you could lie down with the Minister of Communication Junior and not realize that you're crossing a serious line and want people to take your rotted ass seriously as a journalist? How do you not know in your head that it is wrong? How? How? If you are a judge and you are engaging in homosexual activity in a country where homosexuality is illegal, shouldn't you use your bully pulpit on behalf of the rest of the homosexuals in this country? Because let me tell you something. You see that buggery law, that anal sex law? If they really enforce that anal sex law, half the people in Trinidad lock up, because we're real dirty, Trinidadians like slack sex, and I am the last person to tell all you what they do when the lights go down. Because I don't think the state have any business talking to people about two things: who they lie down with in the night and who they're praying to. You could pray to the sun, you could pray to the moon, you could pray to a big bright tomato growing in your yard. It doesn't matter to me. I laugh at the IRO, the Interreligious Organization, a group of men, I don't know if they have any women, gather together, sit around a table, believing in a religion that says only their religion true. All the rest of the people that they're sitting on this table with, deluded. And you're still happy to be in an organization. You're happy to be in an organization, but you see religion, that is literally a sacred cow. So I'll stick a pin. I have my beliefs. And I don't put it on nobody. And I don't think the state have any business. So when people ask me, Philip, what is the PEP's position on homosexuality and the LGBTQXYZ, they're taking the whole alphabet by the time they're done. What is the PEP's position? The PEP's position is, let it put it to a referendum. I will tell you Philip Edward Alexander's position. The state have no blasted business interfering with your sex life. Unless you're killing people, and unless you're interfering with underage children or animals. Once it is two consenting adults, I don't care what you all put into each other. That's not my concern. And it's a travesty that the state could even consider having that as a conversation or a law. We're a mad little nation. Lisa Gobin said, thank God I didn't have 2 drinks. No, Lisa, I'm completely sober. But you understand what I'm trying to tell you? We have to have all of these conversations. When you want, and when it brings me back to Ricardo Bailey and the moral compass. How do you tell people? How do you tell people which way to go when you don't know? How? How do you tell people which way to go when you yourself do not know? The Progressive Empowerment Party wants to build a country on home ownership, food production, and education. See those 3 things? You see those 3 things? You wouldn't need a Ministry of National Security. All your courts will empty themselves. The people need development, social management, cohesion. We have nothing like that. We've put them against each other, used politics to divide the brethren, and suffer them. So now they're going and rob people, and people cussing because why these people robbing me? Because they have no choice. Your system that you are a part of makes that their life. And until we, and let me tell you, I'm not prepared to beat people. I'm not prepared to beat it into people. When I say poverty is the mother of crime in Trinidad and Tobago, if you cannot understand that, if the greatest majority of people cannot reason, if they cannot come to critical thinking, if they cannot come to basic understanding, I will admit defeat. The truth of the matter is, this is it. The sun rises in the east and it sets in the west. I don't know how the people who believe the earth flat deal with that, but I'm working with what I could see. The 20th of January, next week Saturday, we're coming to talk straight. The only reason, you see, I could do like Paulo and Corn Beef Man, Rocky Garcia, all the rest of them who sell their soul to the highest bidder come election time. Give me a whole bag of money and I go talk for you and I go stunt for you. Or the ones who all they want to do is get likes and shares. I putting up memes or I busting marks. And how the ass is that helping anybody? We've been doing it forever. It's not helping anybody. If you do not have an alternative or a solution, what is the point? What is the point? They were saying that waking somebody's heart for love without being willing to love them should be a crime. It is abuse. And the same thing happens in politics. You can't come to people and tell them all of this wrong. Don't tell them how to put it right and give them an alternative or an option. What is the point of you? What is the point of all the bullshit and all the Facebook posts, all of them? If all you are doing is making all noise, likes and shares, you know that? You're anesthetizing the people. They're getting numb. They're getting numb. They see it. They make a little fuss today about Rohan Senator and Maybach, Mercedes-Benz, but they're only taking it on. Because they know the other side do the same thing. And they know, somebody asked me today, Ronald Moses asked me today in Maria's Bakery, how are they allowed that tax break? I said, the voters who put them in office allow them to vote themselves that perk. So that's how it's allowed. So what you need is a government to get into office and remove it. These two greedy stunting artists, they're not doing it. They're not going to do it. They have no interest in taking $1 out of their pocket. I tell you, the man, Rohan does have to wear boots with lifts. And you see short man syndrome, that don't leave a man, you know. That don't leave a man at all. Rohan have to wear shoes with lifts. So he had to go and import this car so that when he park it up, people will say, oh God, that's a big man. But you don't understand. Everywhere else in the world, that type of car is made for people who are chauffeur driven. So all Rohan going to do is look to people who know like he's a chauffeur. But I ain't taking he on. I don't care who Rohan's daughter lying down with. And he know, and I say that, so he know I know. And I want you to know I know, but I don't put people business. You see, personal business is not my thing. I didn't really care. Asha Javid. Listen, all the rest of the media girls and thing and Barbie doll behavior, it doesn't matter to me except that you're journalists. If you weren't in the media, I wouldn't care. I really wouldn't care. I am a fella, I'm telling you, I have no problem with your sexual behavior. Like yourself. Like yourself. But if you, anyway, come back to the education thing. The Progressive Empowerment Party dreams of a nation, imagines a nation, envisions a nation where home ownership, the cost of living, and proper education is within everybody's reach. Everybody. Everybody. There is nobody that cannot leave their humble shack, come down their mud track, and not go and get a minimum wage job, and not be able to buy food, and not be able to afford a home. We will make sure. We will make sure that's the vision of Trinidad and Tobago that the Progressive Empowerment Party has. You see, the PNM and the UNC and all those ministers of national security who pass through with water cannon bullshit that only know lock up and lock down, they don't have enough brain cells to understand Crime is a problem that's supposed to be tackled at the root. It is a symptom of a dysfunctional, mismanaged society. And if you attack it at the root, you will free up all of those police officers to go after those white-collar criminal murder asses and them. But we're locking up little black-hen chicken for corned beef and cricks, while these bitches making off with hundreds of millions of dollars. And that disgusts me. I see Stuart Young appoint his father to a post. Waiting to see where that go. You recuse yourself from a cabinet. A cabinet is not something you can recuse yourself from. You cannot recuse yourself from the decision of collective responsibility, you jackass. Stuart Young, you went to law school. You could read the terms and conditions of a government minister. Do you understand that collective responsibility is what creates the cabinet, and you cannot recuse yourself from something that you are already tied to? That the only way for you to recuse yourself from the cabinet is to resign? Did anybody tell you that? Did Jackass Rowley tell you? How about, I used to call him al-Baghdadi, and then somebody tell me al-Baghdadi was a really good man. So you don't get that Faris, stunt man, Peter Pan. Faris didn't tell you? Republican guardsman here tell you that collective responsibility is the modus of the cabinet? That you can't recuse yourself from that? Bunch of mocking pretenders. The entire lot of them. But you see, once you have the media girls in your bed, they will publish in the papers and read on the news what you want them to say. So the real news, God bless social media. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and all the pantheons of gods, bless social media. Because without it, we're in trouble. Without social media, we're in trouble. This is the great liberator, the emancipator. We are getting to the point where knowledge, you see, you can't just use it for porn. You can't just use it for porn. You gotta use it to raise your standard. Raise yourself. Tomorrow in Stanmore Avenue, from noon, come and discuss housing. Come and pre-register. People trying to understand why we're doing that. Because you're going to have a database, the first 10,000 people to pre-qualify. As you get into government, we want to deal with batches and tranches of people in the tens of thousands. We want to make sure that it reverberates through the lowest sectors of society, that people understand that minimum wage earners are being given the opportunity to own a home. Once you give a man a home, or the opportunity to own his home, you give him a stake in the nation. His whole posture changes. His whole future. When you give a man an education, you open the world to him. The Progressive Empowerment Party stands for zero deposit, zero interest up to 30 years for everybody. First-time homeowners up to $1.5 million. 2 minimum wage earners could afford a $500,000 house. You know what that is? We're talking $100,000 for a starter home and a $500,000 house, a nice home. 2 minimum wage earners, husband and wife. Raise your children. You have some nice equity to leave for them. Because real estate goes up. That is our housing policy, housing for all. Housing for all. Our education policy. Listen, shut down anything that passes now as an education system. Abolish the SEA. Zone the schools. So that you don't have all this mad traffic. All of this traffic. When school is in session, it's because of school. Abolish the SEA. Make all schools 10-year schools. Zone the schools. Give the children a grade point average. They now have something to aim at. You have a national target. Say it is 4.0. So the teacher know that each child needs to get 4.0 or better. Because that's the national target. So all the Ministry of Education job is to keep the schools functional. And the children. Listen. If the teacher is responsible for each child getting a 4.0, if they have 25 children in the class, you multiply all of their grade point average, and that is the teacher's GPA. And all the classes in the school, that is the principal's GPA. And all the schools in the constituency is the supervisor of education's GPA. All these people want their job, they want their salary, they want their perks, because the supervisor of education and a principal of a school should be given the same perks as a senator. There are people who never even deserve to be in the Senate of this country, but I won't talk about that now. But then go there and get perks, like Rohan, buying multi-million-dollar car half off, tax-free. And the people who are supposed to get that is the school principals. Give all the teachers coming up the ranks something to aim at. Ah boy, I want to be a principal. And to be a principal, I need an unblemished career. I need all my children performing well. And when they perform well, I get bonuses. So that helping me. And I can access a nice home, because the government making sure that up to $1.5 million, zero deposit, zero interest for 30 years. So I'm buying that. And I'm working hard. I'm collecting my bonuses. And I'm educating myself, because I want to reach the top there and get that position. And in the 5 days, they make me a principal, tax-free status, and I buy me back. That's who's supposed to drive that. Not a jackass grocer stunting as a minister of works and transport. He ain't no ass from your elbow. And I don't care who begs. Because if your society so ass backwards that your farmers and your teachers suffering, but the stunt artists and the fools, they're making all the money, what do you expect to get at the end of the year? What do you want? What do you think you will get as the net result of the performance of your nation if the people who matter the most are treated the least? You ever heard the saying, what you focus on grows? What you reward grows? Native American Indians say in every man there are 2 wolves, a good wolf and an evil wolf. And the one that survives and the one that thrives is the one you feed. Up to 10-year schools. Imagine you living in a community, you own your home, your children going to school down the road. You hear no traffic, them could take a bus or they could walk. I used to walk from St. Mary's College every afternoon on Frederick Street, Pembroke Street, to O'Connor Street in Woodbrook every single afternoon, rain or shine. And that was a nice, decent walk. You could walk home, you get a drop, you're going to school in your community. The schools are zoned. Most importantly, from the age of 5 is the entrance age for the 10 years, but they have preschool, that's another conversation, but we're talking about the actual 10 years of education. Because we have no SEA, all the children growing together in the same class, the teacher now have to deal with the best performers and the worst performers and bring everybody to the high standard. What we say? A rising tide lifts all boats. And that's what's supposed to happen. Parents and guardians are dealing with the same teachers and principals and educators for the entirety of this child's career in one location. The children from the age of 5 to the age of 15 are growing with other members of the same community that they live in and forging long-term, hard relationships, because a lot of my friends still today is school friends, friends that you make in school when you were growing up. And you could imagine a society of people 10 years down the road, forged together, they live in the same community and they go to school together. You can imagine what you've just built, what you've just knitted nationwide in this little speck in the sea. We plan to identify a needs assessment of all of the professions that will benefit the growth of the country. We want the universities that operate here to offer those courses and those programs, those degree programs, for all of the professions that we are going to need in our long-term plan to develop the nation, and offer those to people who are interested in those professions free of charge on a loan that you will pay back, subsidized in service, national service. So you go and become a doctor and you work for 4 years. You go and become an architect, you work for 3 years. You become an engineer, an accountant, a chartered, whatever. Whatever you need, whatever the nation is going to need, a petrochemical engineer, whatever the nation is going to need, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years down the road, we're planning for that now. If you come out of school now and you want to go and major in philosophy, you're going to be paying for that yourself if we don't need no philosophers. So for your tertiary education, you have a plan. And it don't stop there. We have an adult education plan. Because we want to leave nobody behind. We want to leave nobody behind. And to the people that the PNM and the UNC have left behind, when the school closes at 3 o'clock, we want to open the class to them. There are people in this country that get to the pinnacle of their career at 65, the pinnacle of their knowledge and experience, and then are retired. The pinnacle of their knowledge and experience. We want to open the schools to them. Because you take your first 3 months, you go on a cruise, you plant 2 tomato trees, and you're bored. Come back. Come back into the system. We want to give you a classroom. We want to give you a hall. Come and teach people. They could pay you. They could pay you. You could imagine if you are an engineer now in the engineering field and you could go and do an evening class and be trained by a seasoned professional who did that for 50 years, who could tell you where all the blind corners are. You could imagine that advantage to you. Doctors, lawyers, architects, engineers, I mean, the sky is the limit. Pastry chef, teach people macrame. You don't have to stay home and wilt and die. What is the sense of locking up all these classrooms when there are people who would like... I talk to this security guard all the time. He's a good friend of mine. I keep harassing him to go back to school. But last year he asked me, he said, Philip, how am I going back to school? Where? They have nowhere for me. And it's true. They have nothing like a GED in Trinidad. They have nowhere for people to do an exam and assess where they are in the road of education, so we could put them back into the system and raise them too. You could imagine if everybody, even the prisoners in jail, we want to go into the jail and turn the jail into a university. Open the doors for people when they get better, when they become degree holders, bachelors, masters, doctorates. You could imagine you are sending back people into the community who came into a jail illiterate and suffering. He going back now as a professional, trained, wipe his record clean. That is what you call a fresh start. And listen, we're not just talking lawyer, doctor, engineer. The country needs cooks, chefs, carpenters, masons, master builders. There was a time when the mason in society was paid as high as the farmer. Being able to build an arch was a secret, a keystone. Still, the word keystone is still held in high regard in language, because a keystone, it was a master mason. When his apprentices assembled the arch, it was the master mason that would cut and fit the keystone that made the whole thing work. You all knew that? We need mechanics. We need a marine university, shipbuilding, yachting, speedboats, sailboats. Think about it. Think about it. Food processing. Food processing. We're talking about Angostura bitters on this wall for the past 2 weeks. Today, CNC3 do a story on Angostura bitters. That's what I laugh, you know. I just really want to laugh, you know. And I nearly share it by saying, you know, they got their props to man. Let the rest of the country who don't have access to this live video yet think all you, that was our original thought. Well done, Shelley and Samson. All you come good. But think about that as an education system, closed loop, right to the very end. Even the retirees come back into the system. Think about that for a minute. Now you come to this, that all professions must be certified. No longer will you be going to hire a plumber and don't know if he knows his job and pay him and he never show back up and all that bullshit. All professions must be certified. You're a plumber, electrician, carpenter, mason, mechanic. When you go to a mechanic's shop, there must be a framed certificate certifying him in automotive mechanic and tell you to what level. So you go there with your diesel vehicle and you see and you read certified in gasoline engines. Not wrong guy. Wrong guy. But when you hire in a welder, a builder, a contractor, everybody must give you their certificate to see, a certificate number. Because they now governed by performance, that if they fail, if they come and they take your deposit to build your wall and don't show up, you call the organization, you make a report. And that organization job is to call them in and suspend their certificate. And if your certificate suspended, you can't trade. You must be a certified hairdresser. Every single profession. So that when somebody comes to do business with you, they are expecting and should receive a certain standard. All of these things is how a functional first world nation functions. But we've never had any of this. Because all we vote governments into office. Nigga coolie politics, Kamala bus he file, he bus Kamala file, who bullying who smoking what, all this bullshit. And you're voting on that bullshit. Nobody's talking a single policy. All we discussed tonight was education. That's what we discussed. Education. But from the bottom to the top, imagine if every single person, so now you're living in a country where the cost of food come down, you could own a home, you could feed your family and take care of business, and in the night you're going to do a class. Right in the community, in the school, where your child is going to school in the day, everybody's safe and sound and sleeping, you go on and doing a class, and you doing a course, and in 2 years you have a certificate, then you get a diploma, then you get a degree, and all of a sudden the whole family doing better, and everybody living well, and more importantly, your children seeing you choose a path of personal development all through life. They now have an example to follow. This is how you run a country, not by talking one set of bullshit. And I want to tell you something. Trinidadians really, really, really need to get beyond the bullshit right now. Really. Really.
Yeah. Revelation.
Every politician, new party, old party, that come to you, that want your vote, that want your support, every poster on Facebook, everybody that want to tell you, I want your attention, I want to tell you how to think, I'm a thought controller, every single one of them, ask them, what is your education policy? Because we know Philip Edward Alexander and the Progressive Empowerment Party's policy. All the sycophants, all of the trolls, when they come at you to tell you, Philip is a mother ass, PEP is a fly-by-night party, say, okay, the party that you support, what is its cradle to the grave education policy? Tell me that. Tell me that. No longer do you have to get into jackass conversation about who do what to who. Now you're talking about leadership that leads, with a vision for the people. And every night now, I want to expose PNM from PNM. Last night I gave you Keston Perry. Tonight I give you a fella by the name of Reg Potter. Reg is a fella, defends the PNM. This is what Reg Potter put out. I want you to listen to this, because this is serious. There are frightening revelations in what I am about to read, and you should share the video right now, because this sort of information people need to hear, and they need to call the government out on, because if we ignore it and the net results of the disaster descends upon us, we will have nobody else but ourselves to blame. And I'm going to read that to you now. I just want to set something up here. This is from Reg Potter. I did not write this. Reg Potter put this in the conversation. Dr. Rowley's address to the nation on Sunday, the 7th of January has been described as a message of hope and was even commended for its factual and direct approach by Mr. Leigh Hunt. I am afraid I detected none of this, but I agree it sounded fairly down to earth. But it was couched in words and ways to hide most of the fundamental problems, devoid of any realistic solutions, and in the end was simply a restatement of old news. Reg Potter, PNM. After listing all the problems of lost revenues and hard cash we have heard about since 2015, he did not identify any spending cuts near the amounts obviously required, simply announced the impending acquisition of a new ferry, an incomprehensive formula for the resolution of CLICO, and proceeded to list the same development projects that will earn no revenue at all, but require large amounts of capital and subsequent maintenance costs, which we simply cannot afford. I want you to hear what Mr. Potter says now. As far as I am aware, the government has no spare cash whatever for investment, is borrowed past any reasonable limit, is actually printing non-existent money, calling it a raised overdraft, and faces at least the following major expenditures for which I have to guess the amounts needed. Reg Potter, PNM, I want you to hear this list. $2 to $3 billion in contractor claims for past work extending into the previous UNC term. $3 billion completion cost for the Point Fortin Highway. US $1.6 billion in Petrotrin bond maturities, including US $850 million due in 2019. $1 billion in early redemption bonds. These are debts that the government of Trinidad and Tobago are yet to explain to the people where they're getting the funds to cover. $0.8 billion for the replacement of the Port of Spain General Hospital Central Block. $4.5 billion in lawsuits from Point Lisa's petrochemical plants who have not been supplied their contract gas rates since 2014, resulting in 2 plants shut down and the rest starving. US $1 billion possible claim from Mitsubishi when they try to start their new Labre plant next year and told, we have no gas. $1 billion for the Curep overpass. $500 million to complete the wastewater recovery plant. TNTech owes NGC at least $1 billion for gas unpaid for. WASA is pitifully dependent on state central funds and cannot even dream of implementing the upgrades necessary to stem the leaks that drain away the present and any increases in water production attempted. So maybe $32 billion starting this year and extending over the next few years. That is the debt burden that the media is not discussing. That is the debt burden that Keith Rowley didn't tell you in his speech. That is the debt burden that has Colm Imbert playing hide and seek with the nation. These are just some of the hurdles facing us that I can recall at the moment, but there are many, many more. What is so amazing is that whenever the government is facing some demand for back pay or a new labor agreement to be honored, or as recently advised by Mr. Imbert, the fact that some particular bond redemptions are due because of a clause that allows the bondholders to advance this date, it is announced as some new discovery and how seriously it affects our cash flow. See, this is a game they play. This gentleman, Reg Potter, is telling you straight up the debts that the country has to underwrite this year and for the next few years going forward. And nobody in government, nobody in central bank, nobody in any arm of state or media is discussing this. Surely the Minister of Finance has a very detailed model into which all revenue expectations and all impending liabilities are entered together with any advance date options so that these are clearly known when the budget is proposed. But no, we are told in a way that we conclude the government was taken by surprise and we are asked to be patient. We are told that a private medical facility is unpatriotic because they do not agree to offer dialysis without knowing when and if they will ever be paid. Everybody is being asked to be patient. I'm afraid the impression given is one of incompetence. PNM, talking about PNM, especially when the well-worn but true accusations about the previous government overspending and overcommitting are dragged out again and again to help shield the blows. Being patient is definitely not recommended. Those who wait the longest are most likely never to be paid by a government that is clearly in deep financial trouble quite over their head. How then can the new highways to Toko and Manzanilla and Toko Ferry Port appear as hope? I think these projects are almost universally seen among the population as white elephants. Yet still the PNM continues to spend money on design contracts and have actually awarded a construction contract to a company that is being sued by the state for cartel behavior under the last government. Is this just madness? Or am I completely misunderstanding the situation? Reg Potter, writing about the PNM Keith Rowley government. Seems very similar to the rapid rail project that the PNM would not let go of until they were run out of office. Better terminal facilities in Tobago are definitely required, but does this require a whole new terminal? Most design engineers and project managers find the cheapest way to achieve an objective, not the most expensive option. There have been amazing project cost cuts in the oil gas industry made in the face of today's low oil prices. All the projects mentioned in the PM's address cost money, create new maintenance burdens, and make nothing in money terms for the country. Say that again. Reg Potter speaking following Keith Rowley's January 7th speech. All the projects mentioned in the Prime Minister's address cost money, create new maintenance burdens, and make nothing in money terms for the country. Expenditure on Tobago earns us no foreign exchange because the only clients are Trinidadians using subsidized facilities. Agriculture didn't even get a mention, nor the predial larceny and squatting that prevents it growing. Tourism does not seem to figure to any extent because of stupid beliefs about servitude. We heard a familiar story about manufacturing aluminum wheel rims, which is hardly likely to be competitive in the market and seems more of a sop to satisfy a large claim from Sural. ETEC appears to be dead. No evidence of any plan for long-term substitution of hydrocarbon revenues. Government's acquisition of Tobago's no man's land for the defunct Sandals project means the payment of the purchase price of the CLICO account is lost to the Treasury, and the nation's largest landowner now has more land. And did we really want this type of Sandals investment anyway, where the investor is given everything on a platter and proceeds with business that pays no income tax or duties for decades, laughing all the way to the bank? Reg Potter, writing on Rowley and the PNM's policy. Investors should invest real money, not just offer franchises of their alleged superior service. This makes the Sandals prospect little different from Kentucky Fried, Church's Chicken, and all the other foreign brands that cream off regular foreign exchange payments for use of their name. At least these pay tax though. We need new export or import substitution business in a big way. Genuine tourism, investment, and agriculture are the easiest options, but businesses are faced with increased corporation tax, a lopsided Industrial Relations Act, and general lawlessness to scare them off instead. The increased gas supply ventures mentioned will not even provide volumes to cover the growing supply deficit from depletion of our older reservoirs. Describing them as new supplies to resolve our difficulties is a deliberate attempt to conceal the problem, relying on the national tendency to forget details of any crisis after about 9 days. People, pay attention. These people put themselves at risk to victimization and danger when they ring these alarm bells. I need to read that line again. The increased gas supply ventures mentioned will not even provide volumes to cover the growing supply deficit from depletion of our older reservoirs. Describing them as new supplies to resolve our difficulties is a deliberate attempt to conceal the problem, relying on the national tendency to forget details of any crisis after about 9 days. The only reasonably large, potentially money-making project that will earn foreign exchange that I am aware of is the development of Southwest SW Soldado. This is in shallow sheltered water and can be done comparatively cheaply with quick results. However, Petrotrin in its present parlous state cannot attempt this. It will therefore have to be done with a private partner willing to foot initial investment costs. The problem of the overstaffed offshore and offshore fields and ancient leaky refinery are enormous. And if the refinery cannot refine profitably, it simply has to be closed, leased, or sold. The rantings and threats of Mr. Roger simply have to be ignored, if necessary, with a state of emergency. We are in deep shit, and to get out, we must first admit the problems and stop this tired old method of fooling the population with vanity projects that take us on a hiding to nowhere. That was written by Reg Potter. And that man is so on point. I want to bring him and Terence Farrell and Michael Phillips. I want to find all these people and bring them on the platform next week, Saturday. Trinidad has to wake up. You cannot continue to jam still and hope that somebody else will out the fire that's coming behind you. I had to tell somebody yesterday, there are forests in California bigger than Trinidad. Forests bigger by far than Trinidad. And one spark is burn the whole forest down. That is the analogy for Trinidad. We are in a bad, bad way. And it is carnival time. And a lot of these chickens are coming home to roost while people are drunk and bent over. The people who are responsible to make the decision and hold the government to account are allowing themselves to be deliberately distracted. Tomorrow at noon in 19 Stanmore Avenue, we meet again with the public. Yes, there is a job seekers program for you to sign up, and yes, there's a house registration program for you to sign up, but the real meeting is with the public, to wake people up, that you come and you know and you discuss and you get informed, educated and empowered, and you go back to your communities and say, hey, the nation is on fire. Rome is burning. Camelot is collapsing. The Titanic is on stream to hit an iceberg. Trinidad and Tobago is in trouble. We are in trouble. And if we do not wake up to the realities of this, the impending disaster will decimate this nation. And the people who have been raping, pillaging, and plundering will fly off into the sunset with their ill-gotten gains, leaving us to live in the ashes. Next week, Saturday, we meet in Lange Park, Chaguanas, for the PEP's, Progressive Empowerment Party's first anniversary national rally. And the entire country is invited to come and hear a lineup of speakers that will not only give you the truth of what is going on in the country, they will give you the hope and opportunities of plans, programs, and policies designed to undo and redo the madness that we've been living under. If you care, if you want to know, come, Lange Park, Chaguanas, next week Saturday.
Our destiny. Your vote will decide what you want to be. Your vote can protect
Our country's fate
but use it well.
before it's too late.
If it is that who you voting,
Fail beyond a doubt. They failed. Farris failed. Rowley failed. Colm failed. Shamfa failed. Stuart Young failed. Darren Smith failed. Jennifer Baptiste Primus failed. Franklin Can failed. The entire lineup. Lee failed. Edmund Dillon and his two sidekicks failed. The entire government has failed. We have to face it and deal with it before the nation fails.
show them no mercy. Put them up into the skull.
And utter disdain. Call it for what it is. Call it for what it is. A deception. We have been hoodwinked and fooled. We have put people into power that cannot do the job. And unless and until we take personal responsibility for our democracy, it will continue like this. We can't have this conversation every night. We can't bust mark day after day, put on meme, make joke, laugh, cat and leave this country to burn. The people of Trinidad and Tobago need to come out in their tens of thousands. Next week, Saturday, all the entertainment and all the food, forget that. Come out for the knowledge. Come out to set yourselves ready to stand in defense of our country.
For 20 years, you voting them in, and his own riches.
As soon as they win,
They give you big words and enslave your soul.
promising your roads and giving potholes. Red and ready, yellow and steady. Fire all 41. Kamla and the UNC needs to be fired. Kamla's track record is atrocious. Kamla and that crew left the judiciary and the police service, the healthcare and the education worse than they found it. Vote them out too. Don't be distracted by racist bullshit. Do not vote by hair texture and skin color. Same way you vote them in, vote them out.
Register and totally stay your finger and rescue the country. Put them out with tempo, they have been paid. Let's put our country together again. Put them out with calypso.
And joyous refrain, Saturday the 20th. Rhythm section, Tassa, steel band, Calypsonians, chutney, dancers, the works, everybody will be there. It will be a celebration. It will be the beginning, Level Up 2018. The Progressive Empowerment Party wants to unite this nation, one people under one flag, with a vision of a true, real Trinidad and Tobago, the paradise on earth that it was created to be. We have right now, in our grip, we have the opportunity to rescue this country. Come and be a part of that. Tomorrow and next week, if their policy is a complete fallacy, if they cannot cope, and you see it so, then your only hope is for them to go. If it is that fabrication is the statements that they spout, when you're voting, vote them out. Not just shout, cuss, vote them out. Vote them out. Misuse out, thief out, sell out, and digs out with your money. Vote them out. Vote them out. Them and this system. Let's put our country together again. Let's put our country together again. Vote a government into office that has a legislative agenda that puts the power of government back in the hands of the people. Recall so that you can fire non-performing government members. Referendum so that you can decide and instruct the parliament what the people think. We need campaign finance regulations. We need to be able to control what goes on in the parliament. The time is now. The changes have to be done now. We can't survive our next round. We can't survive our next PNM UNC. Cannot. People must come first. Citizens by right. None of we here worse. Yellow, black or white. Food, shelter and clothes. Free movement and speech. A garden that grows. And one law for each.
If it is that injustice is what they always show.
When you're voting, vote them out.
If it is that
Avarice and greed is all they seem to know. Vote them out. If it is their politics, it's just a puppy show. When election day comes, all bandits must go. Register and vote them out. we were getting, somebody was bringing flags first. I don't know if we'll get it on time. And we are appealing. We need a couple thousand. We'll settle for 1,000. Wash rags, flags, something orange to give the people when they come in. Anybody would like to donate a couple hundred. If you would like to sponsor it and somebody else make it, whatever. It's for next week Saturday at the Grand Rally, the National Rally. If you can help us with that, anybody, just contact Felicia Holder, party chairman, or you could message me. We really need the help. If you have it and you could donate it, we would appreciate it. Next week Saturday at Lange Park, Chaguanas, we tell the people of this country how we take it forward. We show you, we demonstrate to you how easily this nation could fix. We show you how in 6 months all the rogue and corrupt police officers could be removed from the system. How we could undo and redo the justice system to functionality. This is a blessed nation. And we, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, have to stop being so lazy with our democracy. The things that need fixing can be fixed. It is up to us. Tomorrow we are in Stanmore Avenue from noon. Come and be a part of that. But next week Saturday, get yourself ready. All roads lead to Chaguanas. See you tomorrow in Stanmore Avenue. Stay safe, Trinidad and Tobago.